Hi, my name is Cass, and for those who don't know me, I'm an artist here on Webtoon's canvas. And today I'm going to be showing you how I come up with my creepy character and monster designs. Now first off, I wanted to explain that what I find creepy and interesting may totally differ from what you do. And like most aspects of art, this is entirely subjective. What I want to do is just open up my brain and creative process in hopes that it might inspire some ideas for you. Alright, and what to expect in this workshop: collecting inspiration for the design process, sketching and planning, developing creepy creepers from those sketches, a tour into my sketchbook, and finally, a look at my horror comic and how I develop the monster in it. First off, I'd like to start off with where I pull my inspiration from, or the mood board of horror. It might sound funny, so let me explain. I grew up along two very contrasting bodies of water. A lake that was bright and lively, and then there was a canal. It was stagnant most of the year and was a hot spot for mosquitoes and leeches. It was also a constant source of wonder and inspiration for me. Murky swampland, dense forests, the sound of coyotes howling at night. I don't think it's any wonder that I grew up with such a deep appreciation for the creepy and beautiful aspects of nature. I was also inspired by a lot of the horror media I grew up with. Think campy horror movies, books like It and Creepy Stories to Tell in the Dark. I think I even pull a lot of inspiration from the nightmares I got from consuming all that horror media. Then, there are the less fun things. I have definitely used horror and narrative to explore the things that I've struggled with. Packing personal experiences and trauma into creepy characters or monsters. This is a therapeutic process for me, but everybody is different, so please take this as very tentative advice. Explore what scares you. Sketching. When I go into the sketching process, I like to set a few goals or intentions for the overall design and function. Let me break that down a bit more. I believe that the function of a monster, creature, or even just a spooky character should lend to its design. Let's say that I'm pulling a lot of inspiration from the water and the things that live in it. I'm thinking of something that would live in the darkest, deepest parts of the water. Here I've assembled a mood board. I have censored the images because I do not own the copyright for these. I do my best to diversify my sources so that I'm never pulling from just one image or one source. Let's start with our little water monster. Do we think it would have big eyes? Or no eyes? Or maybe something else altogether? I'm going to settle on a creature with large reflective discs where the eyes should be, and just below are these less notable pair of actually functional eyes. Like an anglerfish, these discs here are operating like a lure. See how unsettling this monster already became? How eerie? That's because we gave it very predator-like traits. We made this thing into a hunter. Let's take that same logic and apply it to some human character design. I want to make a witch with the power to make dark deals. Once again, I've assembled my mood board. So I want my witch here to be almost inviting on the surface. So we'll give her a beautiful but mischievous little face. But she has some dark plans. and a history that matches. So I want her hands to appear gnarled and caked with a kind of dark substance, maybe an ink. Yeah, let's expand on that. Let's make it so that her deals are signed in an ink that has stained her hands and parts of her attire. In fact, we can carry that element throughout the design. See how the intentions behind these characters helped us build interesting starting points? Let's develop our sea monster here a bit. Let's give him some sharp, long teeth, perfect for catching fish in his natural habitat. Let's give him texture-heavy skin and shark-like fins, and a long, serpent-like tail. As for the colors, let's go with blue, lots of blues, like we're seeing this thing in the deep, darkest part of the ocean. The only lights are its eyes. And there we have it, our sea monster. Now let's develop our little witch here a bit more. I really like the idea of keeping her color palette almost monochromatic with touches of red. I really wanted to pay extra attention to her hands. I wanted to make them stand out in the design, making them look dirty, grimy, with a touch of red. I tried to keep that same kind of grimy feel going throughout the design. I used the red here at the end to highlight some of these details and bring them back into focus. And now we have her, our little witch. Now that we've had a chance to develop a few ideas together, I thought it'd be fun to show you a few of my sketches and talk about what inspired some of them. After all my talk about water and how it inspires me, you might find it funny to hear that I actually have a secret fear of frogs, and they inspire a lot of my horror designs. This haunted doll character is an absolute favorite of mine. I adore creating designs that walk the line between haunting and beautiful. I think you'll see that a lot with my next drawing here. I really wanted this character to embody a certain duality. I wanted them beautiful yet haunting, powerful yet sickly. This was inspired by a giraffe skeleton. They're just strange looking. I think there's a lot of horror and beauty in contradictions. We have an angel here that is beautiful, but she's dripping in blood and viscera, and she looks terrifying. Finally, I'd like to talk about the art direction of my comic, Dead Water Club. When things get spooky in my comic, you'll see blues and reds begin to take over the color palette. Vibrant, high-contrast color schemes add so much tension and visual flair to a moment. In contrast, I like to have the lighter moments in the comic lit with softer light and less intense color palettes. This goes for the characters too. While the majority of the cast have bright and warm color palettes, one of the protagonists and the monster that is attached to him share a palette of grays and blues. I make sure the locations in the comic follow the same logic. I make sure that this location, Edmund's house, is poorly lit and packed densely with needless furniture. I want this location to feel suffocating. In stark contrast is one of my favorite locations in the comic, a breakwall looking out over the water. I try to utilize a level of horror when I'm setting up my scenes. I play with perspective and try to tease the reveal of the monster. Speaking of my monster, Let's break that down a little bit. This is EE, Evil Edmund, Slunty. He doesn't have a name, but like a cat, he'll answer to whatever someone chooses to call him. He's an amorphous character and doesn't really have a set appearance. He is most often seen in this form and appears as a dark reflection of my character Edmund. His color palette is primarily made up of blues and teals. His eye sockets appear empty, and he doesn't appear to have any functional organs, only mud. In fact, I'd even say this guy is all limbs. My monster here is in a constant state of growth, hence all the extra limbs that seem to be sprouting from his body. While my monster is shown to have teeth, he is never seen to eat, nor does it seem to be interested in anything other than dragging the cast down to watery graves. I'd explain more if I could, but that falls into spoiler territory for the comic. If you'd like to check out more of my work, please check out Deadwater Club on Webtoons, or my previous title, Something Like Summer, a comic written by the award-winning author Jay Bell and drawn by yours truly, me. If you'd like to follow me or any of my other socials, I'm Cass_DWC on Twitter and Instagram.